So I want to get in and light this in a more appropriate way. And so it seems pretty obvious to me right now that if I introduce a single light source, that's probably about as accurate as I want the lighting to get. Now, by default, the lighting is not going to look great. When I introduce a light into the equation, it's going to illuminate everything except for the sun, because my default light is actually inside the sun. Okay? And let me just zoom in here and take a quick look at the Earth, and I'll give that a quick render. So I'm illuminating it on one side here. If I kind of just pan around, there we go. By default that looks pretty good. I don't have shadows turned on. This is just a really simple light. It's probably a little too intense, and I want to adjust the color. So I'm just going to keep this really simple, but I'm going to advance the playhead a bit here. And what I'm looking for is I want to get the moon to cross the path of the Earth. So let me just hit play, and I'll pause right about there. I'm going to zoom in on the Earth. Okay, and so really what I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to see if I can catch a shadow of the moon on the Earth. So I've actually stopped, according to my animation, at a few seconds in, and I'm going to select my light, and I'm going to just temporarily turn shadows soft on and give that a quick render. I don't see anything. And the reason why I don't see anything in my entire solar system. And the reason is because now that I have shadows turned on, my light is actually inside the sun object. Okay? And it's casting light, and that inside of the sun geometry is causing shadows to be cast, so the light's not even actually leaving the sun. Okay? I can fix that. There's a number of ways that I can fix that. I could put the light outside the sun, if I were just to lift that up and give that a quick render. Now we see that it's illuminating the entire scene, but not exactly the effect that we want to go for. Another thing that I could do, make sure shadows is back on. Another thing that I could do is I could select my light. And in the Attributes Manager, in the Scene tab for the light, so I've selected my light, I've gone to the Attributes Manager, I have the Scene tab, I can drag objects into this exclude or include, and by default it says exclude. I can tell this light to exclude an object. I'm going to drag the sun and drop it in here, and now it's ignoring the sun object, so it's not going to illuminate it, and it's not going to use it to cast shadows. Okay, so that worked with our initial light. We got a little bit of an issue with our sun in that we can't see our sun because the only light in the scene right now is actually ignoring the sun object. But we'll take care of that with a simple adjustment to the texture. Okay, and in really simple terms, what I'll do is I'll just open up the sun texture. I'm going to turn on the luminance channel, and I'm going to set the luminance to a color. And what luminance is doing is it's actually adds light itself to the texture object. So if we turn on luminance, it doesn't require a light source. The texture itself has illumination. Okay, so I've turned on luminance and I've adjusted the color, and you can see that the color of the color channel versus the color of the luminance channel, they start to play off of each other a little bit. I'm also going to turn on, just for an effect, I'm going to turn on glow, and I'll use material and I'll adjust some of these values. I'll turn down the glow strength and give that a quick render. And I want this outer radius to be much larger. I'm just going to keep testing that render. The glow is a post effect here, so it renders and then it applies the glow after the fact. So by playing with color, luminance, and glow, we can get some pretty interesting effects. In addition to that, if I go to the luminance channel, right now I'm using a flat color, but if I go to textures and I load noise, I can really start to play with, and I'll just dig in and kind of just really quickly play with some values of the noise, the kind of noise that I want to apply here. Okay, you can see that I can start to get kind of like a little dappled kind of texture, so I'm getting a little shift, and it looks like it's kind of almost creating a little bit of a surface color. Let's make that a little bit closer to yellow, get a little bit more of a shift in there. Okay, so on the luminance channel I could add I could add this. I could also do this on the color channel. And again, that's just selecting any texture channel, and under texture, instead of loading an image, we can choose noise. Okay? And if you happen to add noise to a channel, it'll show you the little thumbnail here, and you can always double click on that thumbnail and you can change the properties of the noise. So there's, you know, all kinds of values in here. I could even change the kind of noise that's being rendered here. Let me give that a quick render. Okay. So with a few clicks of the mouse, that's looking pretty cool for a sun. Now, of course, I'd want to spend more time and continue to tweak that, but it looks pretty good. My light's not looking so good. I don't like the way that the light looks. It looks a little too intense, but I'll just double check by zooming in on my Earth object and give that a render. So that's pretty good for now. Again, I'm going to spend some more time offline tweaking my lighting settings. Probably what I'll end up doing is I'm going to take the intensity of this original of the sunlight down. I'll add a little color to it, and I'll experiment whether that should be yellow or blue or red. And then I'll take this intensity down. I'll keep the shadows on. That's not... Definitely want it more intense than that. So I don't like how yellow that light is. Okay, I thought it would make sense from the sun, but I think that the light's probably should maybe even be a little bit bluer, don't you think? I'll play with those values and try to determine what the best value is. I like the blue better than the yellow and how that's playing here. But I like what's happening here a little bit with the light. I can actually take that intensity down. And if I need to, I can always add some fill lights into my solar system, right? Not technically accurate, but if I want to light some of the backsides of these planets or objects, I think that'll work out. Okay, so I really wanted to see if I could get a shadow of the moon casting on the Earth, and I think I'm just not lined up properly. But I'll continue to play with that. But I'm pretty happy with the background. I'm pretty happy with the light. I'm going to push that forward offline, but the next thing that I'm going to show you is I want to show you on how we would create an asteroid belt, create lots of different objects really quickly, and send those along a ring. Okay, and maybe we'll do that for Saturn as well, and just really kind of get some content in our solar system that maybe we can fly through that would look pretty cool once we start moving our solar system and our cameras, and we'll do that in the next presentation.